And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to another edition of Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan, coming to you from the National Weather Service in Alaska region on this Monday, March 24th, 2025. And some of the headlines we'll speak of, Alaska Tsunami Preparedness Week is this week, and I'll highlight some explanations and safety points. We're continuing to watch some periods of rain and snow or rain and snow showers that will affect the Panhandle and along areas of the Gulf Coast now through midweek. Later on, after we get past this weekend, it's looking like there's a potential for a storm to come in off the Bering Sea with moisture that will cross between the Alaska Range and the Brooks Range that could provide for April Fool's Day snowfall across the interior. And then after that, following that system, below normal temperatures are looking likely now for that first week of early April. And looking at what we have in the way of a couple of FAA webcams on this Monday afternoon, King Cove out the south end of the Alaska Peninsula, windy with some snow showers, only 21 degrees. Winds have been gusting there up around 30-35 miles an hour much of the day. As we go east across the Gulf over to Kaufman Cove, some scattered light rain showers, 45, and you're going to see those rain showers picking up again as we go through later tonight. And on Tuesday, there's a trough of low pressure that's going to rotate upwards across the Panhandle that'll enhance some of the rain and then, of course, snow in the middle and higher elevations of the coastal mountains. At this time, though, we do not have any watches, warnings, or advisories currently in effect as of this mid-afternoon on Monday, and nor are we anticipating any significant things going on, though, again, parts of the Panhandle could pick up some additional snowfall, especially in the far north end. Avalanche danger situation is such. Considerable avalanche danger exists in the eastern Kenai Peninsula at Turnagain Pass down through Moose Pass. This area has been troublesome. We had a fatality early in the weekend, a snow machiner that was killed near Turnagain Pass. And again, it's believed there's a crust layer there that goes back to February 14th, around mid-February, that may be responsible for that slide and holding that snow there. So be extremely careful if you're planning any sort of backcountry adventures, skiing or snowmobiling, because it is that time of year and conditions are dangerous, especially near those steeper slopes of 30 or more degrees. So this week is a Tsunami Preparedness Week, and one thing is, know the natural signs of a tsunami. If you feel a strong or long earthquake, that could be something that triggers that tsunami, especially if you're near the water. If you see a sudden rise or fall of the ocean level, that's another sign of an impending tsunami. And then, of course, if you hear a loud roar from the ocean, that could be the signal that tsunami waves are advancing toward you. And how do you get official warning? You can get them through outdoor sirens if you're at a coastal community, radio, NOAA weather radio, or commercial radio, telephone notification, TV, and then wireless emergency alerts and text messages. So know the difference of the various alerts. An information statement is usually issued for no threat or a very distant event, and the threat has not yet been determined enough to be significant. So you can relax at that point. If there is a tsunami watch, a distant tsunami is possible, meaning that perhaps a distant earthquake has triggered a tsunami that could develop into something by the time it arrives. So you want to stay tuned for more information and be prepared to act. Now, a tsunami advisory is issued when strong currents and waves dangerous to those very near the water are possible. So if you're in a coastal community and you're right down by the waterfront, if a tsunami advisory is issued, stay out of the water and away from beaches and waterways. Now, a tsunami warning is most dangerous. It's the anticipation of dangerous coastal flooding and powerful waves and currents are possible. And you're definitely going to want to move to higher ground or move farther inland, especially to pre-designated high ground safe areas in your community. You should always take the time to know where those are if you live along anywhere in Alaska where you have the ocean right there at your doorway. But here across the state today, we have had low pressure here just south of the Gulf, more moisture coming northward. This is the next little trough that's going to rotate and especially get the outer portion of the panhandle later tonight and on Tuesday. As we go to the west, we still have a north-northwest flow along the west side of the state, the eastern Bering, bringing down that Arctic air now all the way south of the Alaska Peninsula. But you can see the stratocumulus clouds and the snow showers associated with that cold air and the brisk north-northwest winds, Sand Point on Alaska. And then further west, we have this gale force front that's pushing through the western Aleutians associated with low pressure way out there, trying to move up into the far southwest corner of the Bering Sea. Late tonight into early on Tuesday morning, we'll have this low situated just south of the Gulf with this trough that's going to rotate up across the outer panhandle as we get into Tuesday morning. Meanwhile, further west, here is this ridge of high pressure. Origins start way up in the Arctic Ocean, but through the Bering Strait and south of the eastern and central Aleutians with this occluded front that has had gale force winds and a band of rain moving through the Aleutians. As that comes eastward, this front will weaken Tuesday into Wednesday, and the low that's over the lower southwest quadrant of the Gulf will continue to have this trough that just kind of pulls back up along the panhandle and toward the northwestern corner of the Gulf. Still some showers and rain and snow showers along this little enhancement in some of the coastal mountains. You can pick up additional snowfall. By Wednesday, that low just washes out as this lingering trough. And then down here, we have a little stronger low down near 970 millibars with an occluded front that's pushing into Vancouver Island and Washington, Oregon coast. Meanwhile, this weak little low is just near and west of St. Matthew, has a few snow showers or mixed snow showers that'll weaken before this high over the Aleutians becomes stronger. So that by Thursday, we anticipate stronger area of high pressure up around 1040 millibars along and just north of the western and central Aleutians with the ridge extending all the way up to the Arctic Ocean. And then lingering trough over the northern Gulf back toward the Kenai Peninsula, and another just a very weak trough in the interior. Another one just kind of downwind of the Alaska Peninsula with that colder air. Still some snow showers possible there. And then as we look down here to the lower right corner of your screen, there's that wound up low at the occluded front, trying to pull some moisture back toward the panhandle, especially southern areas on Thursday afternoon. There could be some rain and snow, areas of rain and embedded snow in the higher elevations pushing up into the southern panhandle. Quick check of temperatures. Lows tonight sub-zero. Could see a few spots near 20 below, not along the Arctic coast. Shishmaref could be near that cold. We have readings below freezing south central, so any melting that occurred today, Matsu Valley, Anchorage Bowl, Kenai Peninsula, that's going to refreeze. Watch out for icy spots, walkways and roadways. And then here in the panhandle, generally low temperatures are going to stay above freezing tonight. On Tuesday afternoon, we find highs generally in the 40s at sea level in the panhandle. As you get up, though, into the mountains, there could be some snow that accumulates with some of the areas of snow or snow showers. Highs should get back up around 40, 45 degrees. Matsu Valley, Anchorage Bowl, western Kenai. Staying below zero along the Arctic coast, especially from Wainwright eastward through Kaktovik, and still maybe only 2 below or so there at Shishmaref. And then on Wednesday morning, we still are expecting lows near or a bit below zero across the lower Yukon Delta and Kuskokwim deltas. Still below zero across the Seward Peninsula, North Slope and Arctic coast, and even some pockets of colder air there, the Yukon Flats. And then on Wednesday afternoon, high temperatures could approach 50. So we're going to have that milder southerly flow up along areas of the outer panhandle coast, including Sitka through Craig and Metlakatla. Back here up again through the Matsu Valley, highs low mid 40s, around or just above 40, Anchorage, western Kenai Peninsula, 41-ish there. Kodiak City, temperatures moderate just a little bit along the west coast. That the coldest shot of the Arctic air that's worked its way southeastward across the eastern Bering and west coast will begin to wane. But looking further ahead, once we get past this coming weekend, some of the forecast models are showing a low with moisture coming off the Bering Sea and then into the central interior, especially between the Alaska Range and the Brooks Range. And that could bring in a swath of accumulating snow across the interior on April 1st. April Fool's Day could produce some notable snowfall. And then in the wake of that system, colder air will advance southward and overtake much of the state, so that the early part of April, April 1st through the 7th, could entail below normal temperatures across much of the state, especially centered on the central Alaska Range area. And then precipitation could average a bit above normal, especially across northern areas, the upper Yukon Valley around Fairbanks, including Yukon Flats, Arctic Village, the Brooks Range, and all the way to the Arctic coast, with maybe precipitation averaging a little below normal across the Alaska Peninsula. The thing is, this area of the state has an above normal snowpack from this past winter. A lot of snow and moisture that came northward fell as snow, and it's providing a decent amount of snow cover there for the river breakup. The only thing that will offset an early onset of river breakup is the fact it's looking like at least the first part of April will be on the cooler side of normal, so that could delay the river breakup unless we have a really big quick pattern flip before the end of April. So I hope that gives you at least a little insight here how things are shaping up to end March and start April.